start recording also, I think.
मैंने स्टार्ट कर दिया।
Okay. Yes.
तो आई बी मतलब आपको कोई भी इश्यूज हो तो आप ये प्राइवेट चैट पे चैट कर दीजिए।
Sure. Sure. मैंने WhatsApp खुला रखा है ना।
हाँ मैंने भी खुला रखा है।
Okay.
Yeah, if the people are not able to see a full screen, then we need to attend that. That's why just kindly wait for the first few minutes for that confirmation, Suraj.
ओके श्योर सर श्योर।
So shall I keep the chat window open like this?
अब देख लो, if you are comfortable, that's okay.
Yeah. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on the Defense and Protective Services. So what we'll do, we'll just give it a minute or two and wait. People are just logging in, the audience, I mean. So we'll just give them a minute more and we'll be starting our process then. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, Twinkle. Good morning, Navya, Anaga. Very good morning to all of you. Morning, Sagar.
I think, Sudhi, we can start now rather than wait.
Right, sir. We can start.
So a very good morning to all of you. My name is Sanjay Joshi, and I am the moderator for this webinar, which I'm having right now on defense and protective services. So I am a veteran from the Indian Army, retired as a lieutenant colonel with around 22 years of service. And then for the last few years, I've been working as the head of administration at an educational institute. Our presenter for the day is another veteran from the armed forces, Lieutenant Colonel Sudhir Nair. He comes in with a rich background of 22 years plus service in the forces, and then he's been the head of administration in Cognizant at Chennai. So as we go into this presentation, he'll take you into the entire process, how it is done, what you can look forward to. And I request all of you to be patient and go through this thing. And in case you have any queries, you can just post it here on the chat and question answer. And at appropriate intervals, we'll keep them taking them on. So have a lively, informative, and interactive session. And I'm sure this will help you in your future choices. Thank you. Sudhi, you may please carry on.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, good morning, everyone. So, I was just looking at the chat window, and I can see as of now about 10, 12 participants, right? So, that calls for a lot of interactive advantage here. So, do make use of this, and let's make this a little bit interactive. So, as I say, today I'll be covering in about 1 hour the complete career options spanning defense forces and protective services. So this implies Army, Navy, Air Force, and all that emblems which you are seeing in the screen, complete PMF, paramilitary, and I'll try to explain to you what everything means. And by protective services, there is a plethora of protective services here. So let's focus on the key services for which we'll be discussing. Rest all is there will be a very standard pattern which will emanate slowly. So today we see a very huge opportunity here. As you see in the screen, this is not a job. This is a way of life. A uniform services, as you all know, is a way of life. And you can read there that real heroes don't have a name on their back. They wear it on their country's flag. So you ask me, there is all this patriotism and the nationalism we talk about does not have to really trickle down to the uniform services. Any job you do is a patriotic job. Anything. You be a teacher, you be an engineer or so. But here, when we say a uniform services or a defense forces, there is a direct impact which we are able to create. So we have a huge opportunity lying in front of you here. The opportunity here is the very virtue of the large size it offers. See, 12 to 14 lakhs of regular army, you can imagine. Then another 2 to 2.5 lakhs of Air Force and Navy together. See, you can see a bright opportunity there and a huge number of vacancies. Look at the PMF. We have got the Assam Rifles, and we got the other support services and the other CAPF. CAPF is the armed police forces. You can see those emblems there, right? The BSF, the CRPF, the CISF, SSB, NIA, NSD, and so on. So altogether, our main forces and reserve forces together, when I say reserve, it means all the CAPF altogether, amount to about, say, about 25 to 30 lakhs. Huge. There is a big opportunity here. And what do you look at a career is very, very vital and important. When you look at a career, are you looking, what are the facets which we are looking? Can you just quickly type in the chat window that what are you looking in a career? There are 4 or 5 facets, right? So what are the important things you're looking in a career? Okay, I can prompt you. Work-life balance, monetary benefits, the satisfaction of serving, people management, the control which you're going to have, the status which it calls for in the society, learning opportunities. Like there are so many like this. So good. Excellent. Motivation, control, dignity, satisfaction of serving, mental peace and learning opportunities. That's a very, very different approach. I like that approach. Mental peace. Great. See, that calls for your aim is extremely focused. You judge the uniform forces as the one with a mental peace. I will certainly support you and elaborate this further. Satisfaction of serving, learning and new things. Absolutely correct. So anybody is left out, or I'll continue, right? So see, this huge chunk what I'm explaining, well-respected, satisfied job with living salary and adventures. Absolutely, it's a very adventurous journey. Now, when we say how this thing has opened up, when we joined 20 years back, self and Colonel Sanjay, it must have been Army, Navy, Air Force. What do you do? A set standard pattern of jobs. Okay, SSB, you get into SSB, you get there, and you're there in the target, right? Now, most of us are graduates, and we learned much of technology and things within the Army. You'll be surprised when I just show the next slide. I'll explain that. So more learning was from the forces than outside. That is what we have experienced. But today, you have various arms and services. You have every single subject. In my future slides, I'll be showing you how the technology has gone leaps and bounds. And this technology has opened up new things for all of us to work on. Everything is specialization today, right? So you say information technology. If you define information technology, earlier, it would have been much easier. Today, you can say artificial intelligence, big data, and you will not stop. We are going into a world of specializations. So, likewise, as technology has really impacted the defense forces and the protective forces, this calls for a huge talent pool in the market today. All of you are the talent pool, and you have ample opportunities to find your goals. The goals may be learning, as you all set the goals, right? Finding a status in the society, respected job, people management, and for each and every subject, today there is an opportunity in the armed forces. BCom, BSc, BE, BTech, whatever. There is an arm for it. There is an arm for law, JAG, everything. So these are the things which we'll be discussing. My first 2 minutes is just to explain to you that there is a technology which has opened up here and a huge number of opportunities. So I'll just briefly cover my lineup here. My journey has already been covered by Colonel Sanjay. I wouldn't like to speak much, but that is very important to give my journey because you would often be comparing it. My journey is just one of the soldier's journey, right? So the journeys differ from soldier to soldier. So for an example, you can see this graph here on the India map that I started from a B town, a second tier city, Coimbatore, and where I reached OTA. It was a sea change for me. How it changed life and personalities, you're all aware. So everyone who joins the academy, there is a change in the entire makeup. That change in makeup is something which I would like to cover in the next slide. So with the 22 years, I have seen most of the length and breadth of India. And when somebody said you're going to Lido, then I was searching on the map, where is Lido? Now I'm sure you are hearing it for the first time. You will certainly Google it after this webinar. Where is this Lido? So it's very interesting. Then the northernmost tip, Kupwara, right? Karen, I was somewhere there in Karen, and I traveled to the westernmost tip, HMK. Ample opportunities here to see things, to see a culture, to see a geography which we can never imagine. A National Geographic photographer would show us so many things, but there are things which the defense forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, and others can show you, which no photographer can show. This is one of the life's most beautiful experiences. I was just thinking how the hot spring was there at the Lohit River. Just Google Lohit River where it is, somewhere down the northeast. A hot spring is there, natural. Now, somewhere down the Karen sector I was talking, and down South Kashmir, Lido is there in Assam too. You can see it somewhere very close to the China border. The Lohit River cuts across and goes that side. So then, similarly, have you heard of some place called Tosha Maidan? It was earlier an artillery firing range. Now you Google the newspapers and web, you will find Tosha Maidan is now being made a picnic spot, or where people are going. It's accessible to public. These are the areas, these are the beautiful places one gets exposure. I say India is extremely beautiful. You just go length and breadth of India, you will realize that there are so many areas to be seen which are not there anywhere around the globe. That is the exposure, right? Regarding professionalism and training, I'll come later. So I did get exposure here. I'm just putting my career specific to artillery, a gun position officer, battery commander, logistics, second in command, commanding officer. So I'll just further go ahead with this. So as one goes into various arms and services, you get various exposures. In Navy, you get a different exposure. At this point of time, what is the lifestyle of these heroes? How much time they spend with their family and how they do it? Very good. I'll be covering that. So there is a lot to learn and there is a lot to do. Now, what is the world of work the Army, Navy, Air Force is having? That I'll be covering. My dad also posted in Assam. So regarding the lifestyle, let me start with Parth's question and then go on to Rahul is just supplementing here. Parth, the next slide was intended to show that I believe there is some issue in this slide, but I will take it on. Due apologies for this. I will just cover the lifestyle. You see, you're seeing all the 6 bullet points here, right? So one is training. You're getting trained right from your academy. You're getting trained. And training is a money which you can never repay it, right? Training, professionalism. Now, when you say professional, every single equipment which you are training, most of our life is spent, you say morning to evening. When you look at the armed forces, what do they do? You imagine a person walking with a gun, or you imagine someone standing past the line of control. Yes, those are the jobs we do. And you're seeing a sailor on the ship, right? You're seeing a fighter jet pilot flying in the air. Yeah, all these are there. These are the professional part. Now there are so many hidden facets of this which the common public doesn't know. So I'm trying to cover up those issues here, right? How was your SSB experience? Very good. That SSB is something which you, Kushal, you hold that question for me. There is something very interesting about the SSB which I will cover. Let me first clear a query. What do we do? What is our world of work? What is our world of work? Somebody asked that question. I would like to cover that. So, professionalism, I said, I'm just getting back to it. There is a lot of training required. I'm sitting at, someone is sitting at home. Then one fine day, you tell him to go and fire a rocket launcher, or you ask him to clear a gun, or you ask that person to fly get into a submarine and take all the controls. So that calls for a lot of training, right? So that professional training is unmatched. Uh, the more number of courses one does in the army is much more, or air force or navy is much more than what we learn outside. We are subject to capsules 1 year, 1.5 years, 6 months. There's a continuous series of training you do. Yes, Tushar, go ahead. I'm listening to your question. You can type, or you would like to make it a communication here. Suraj, are you there? Can you just clear Tushar? Tushar, you may do one thing. You may just quickly type your question. I'm remembering it. So I would like to complete this cycle, what I'm showing in this slide, please. Okay. Next is the physical limits. Oh, before the academy, one say, what do you do? I run. How many kilometers you run? 3 kilometers. Then one fine day, as a youngster, you find yourself running 58 kilometers with a 18 kg pack. So where have we pushed the body, right? There is no limit how the body can take. So the training, it promotes and a self-confidence instilled inside your body itself. It's a physical powers. You realize that there is a lot of human potential within us. Mental. When you say a mental, it is more of situational reactions. You are subject to situational reactions while handling people management, and you are subject to high pressure situations which you will handle. That will certainly take your thing ahead. Next is social. So the social aspect is very, very important. That is something called esprit de corps. See, dear friends, if I miss some question of yours, I have one request. I may like you to type it again with the due regards for your question. I wouldn't like to cut it short, so I would like to take it once I finish this slide. Or can we make it interactive? That is another way of approach, right? Just let's follow the flow, then I'll attend to your questions. So social, when we say social, a team spirit. When I ask you one question here, uh, when do you get associated very, very closely with your people? Is it both in hard situations and both in good situations, or only in good situations we associate with our friends? What is the answer to this? Both hard and good. Exactly, exactly. See, we have, one of the most toughest situations we face together. When we face the situations, we develop a bonding, and that's what is the esprit de corps, a team spirit which develops. This is the forces are one of the best places where you learn esprit de corps, where you learn to carry your brothers and sisters along. Now, both situations, yes, exactly. Yes, please.
Sudhir, with your permission, I'd just like to add in here.
Yeah,
Like what happens, we are not opening the mics because what happens if you open the mics, it will be for all the participants.
yeah.
So there might be disturbance because a lot of people have queries. So what I would request all the participants is please keep on posing your questions on the chat or the question and answers, and we will be taking it up in during this process. Somehow, if you miss it
There
out
is,
at the end of it, we are again going to have a discussion.
yeah, we are certainly
So
having a
we'll take it
Q&A in the
that.
end.
And Tushar and Rahul, you've been asking. Yes. So let Sudeep proceed with this presentation. He's going to cover all the forces, different forces. What are their requirements in terms of qualifications? What is the joining process and all that? He's going to cover. So be patient and just give him time, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I will be covering your points about
Yes, Colonel.
career options. Thank you, Colonel Sanjay. So the health, right? So today you understand the situation all around the globe. Health is extremely important, and this is a place, the forces where we should not use those words. We are paid for health. We are paid for health. We get a job to look after ourselves with state of art amenities, and so that we could look after the country, right? So health is something extremely vital, and it becomes a part of life. Career prospects, I explained earlier, there are a lot of courses which you like to do. Somebody like me, for example, I am a BSc in biology or a chemistry, and I did an MSc technology in the army. Is it related to each other? No. I did a weapon technology course. So career prospects are numerous. It opens up a lot of horizons. So there are opportunities to do in IITs, MTech, and all other things are there. If you join certain forces, you will be able to do MTech. You will be able to join IITs. Those are supplementary qualifications which you will be gaining. Yes, Tushar, please go ahead. Tushar, I'll wait. Surely, Parth. See, when you say personal transformation, there are physical, mental, social, health, and career. So, the believe me, the parents when they see you before and after the training is something which it's unbelievable. The way you react before a training and after a training, the way you react with your social circles, the way you will behave inside a house, your parents, your people around you, everybody will find it different. That is because of this uh, mental conditioning and physical conditioning which we undergo, that makes us as officers and leaders. So that is what I was referring to. Okay, so besides the professional part, see, I've just flashed across a lot of photographs here. Tushar, you can start a career in the Navy. Excellent. SSR. Well done. Yeah, you can do that. So I will be showing some websites and links where you can go in, check your qualitative requirements required for that, and understand what are the education qualifications, and then go accordingly. The best advantage to take from this webinar is to understand the practical aspects from me. The practical aspects are what is a way of life, how it changes a person, and what impact you are going to create. And regarding the what are the entries available to join, I will be showing one single slide, but certainly I will be giving you the suitable links. There are multiple entries you will realize that you can go and you can pursue your career. So how the way of the world of work differs in the Army, Navy, Air Force, that also I am covering it. So you will understand it soon. So you can see that first thing clockwise is the dinner night, right? So you see the people are how the way, the manner in which they are sitting. Isn't this a mental conditioning which we are talking about? The poise, the soft skills, and we learn to respect the food there, what we are eating. That's how it makes us very orderly manner. These are all occasions to bond. And you see the second picture. Very rarely you would have seen this, right? All religions in one board. All religions are there in a board. This, any idea, anyone, what this is called as? People with a little bit of Fauji background will certainly tell me what this. This is a Sarva Dharmasthal. This is a Sarva Dharmasthal. So where all religions are going to congregate, and everybody prays all gods. So there is no religion within the forces. For all religions, all festivals are celebrated, and the entire team comes right from the top man to the bottom, right from the commanding officer to the last person is there, looking at one. So this is again the spirit which I called earlier, right? Bonding, the team bonding. This is how it is starting. I think just some exceptions are the naval ships where there is no religious or there is no festivities which is involved. But most of the other places, this is there. And you can see to the third photograph, that is a family bonding, right? Even corporate, you must have heard family meetings and outings and all. But the forces are totally different. It's a different method in which it is done. The complete families, they get together once in a month, once in 15 days. The spouses come, the kids come. They're all allowed to play games, socialize. So there is a lot of socializing happening. In a team, it is very rare that you are not aware of your subordinates' family, their names. Very rare. It's not possible. I know my colleagues' kids, what they are doing. That is the level of personality. That is a level of personal uh, uh, touch or connect which the forces bring in. So you see the fourth photograph. You can see somebody being thrown up in a chair there. That is a song is sung along with this called "He's a Jolly Good Fellow." This happens when a person moves out from one unit to another. This is a sort of a tradition, right? So there are so many other traditions too, which are there in the Navy and the Air Force. So these traditions, they bind people. They always take the human connect aspect. And believe me, in battle or in peace or war, in administration, wherever we are, the connect matters. The human connect is one thing which is going to give success. The fourth photograph you are seeing there is something called, can you try it out? What type of feast this is going on? A group of people are sitting and having food together. What do you observe there? Is there a peculiarity? Exactly, it's a langar. Yeah, there is a langar, and there is also something called a badakana. Badakana is a major feast. It is followed in all the most of the forces. right? Without any rank or category, everybody sits together and has the food, right? And that is not just having a food; it's more of a social interaction. So this is very clearly, these are ways and means where bonding goes beyond uh, the ranks and file. If you exactly think of any forces, are you thinking of a hierarchy there? You're thinking of a very structured layout, right? Top man, center man, middle man, last man. That is one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is team bonding at the best. In extreme conditions, in field areas, most of the places, whenever there is an opportunity, the officer has to have food with the men. That is a golden rule. So that is how the connect is maintained, the team spirit is maintained, the Palton's name is maintained. Yeah, the last thing which you see the photograph is something called a baton handing taking over. Is it true that if somebody has injuries in the previous, like some fractures or hand or leg, they will be exempted from being in services? If this is attributable to a military service, like say you before joining, obviously, if you have some problem like this, then you wouldn't be taken in. But after joining the forces, if there is an accident and it is attributable to the military service, you know what is attributable? It is due to the service. An attribute can even become, say, you're going in a jeep for a military operation, the jeep is skidded and you are fractured. That also is counted as attributable to military service, and it does not exactly need to be a, a fight or something like that, right? So all these are attributed cases. So you will be taken care by the forces. They will give you a separate disability money, and your pension and everything will be taken care. Yes, I will be covering criteria and procedures also, certainly. So what I mentioned there is a handing taking over is the responsibility. How the ownership and responsibility is a quality which we are building in the forces. Okay, here we go. Lot of queries on the world of work, which I am trying to show here. Dream it, believe it, achieve it. Yes. So, dear friends, one point again, I am repeating it back. You can go to any website like Indian Army, Navy, join Indian Army, nick.in, join Indian Navy, nick.in, where everywhere, each and everything will be self-explained. The qualitative requirements, your height requirements, your eye requirements, your power requirements, your physical requirements, everything is there. So that is something which I need not possibly cover, but I will try to give a very brief gist of it. That is something which is already available open on the web. I am trying to tell you certain things which you will never, not hear of in the web. That is the main aim of the webinar. So in a world of work of the forces, armed forces, have you ever heard of something called a combat arms, combat support or services? Have you heard of all these categories of jobs? Have you heard of this? Infantry, armored, artillery, engineers? Yes, Kushal. Good. Excellent. So can you distinguish what exactly a combat support means? Okay. The machinery used during wartime. But the infantry and armored are also having machinery. Everybody is having machinery. AC is having machinery. EME is having machinery. Exactly, Kushal. Combat support basically provides cover to the soldiers during attack. Cover means all sorts of cover. The engineers go right in front. They lay the tracks. I will tell it one by one now. So these are some of the things which you see in the screen. 2 stars on my shoulders are better than millions in the sky, right? So here, when I say the infantry and the armored, these are the frontliners for the battle. They are right in front. I will be covering a peacetime role and a wartime role. There are two sorts of roles which we see here. A war is something which is rare, which will happen once in a while, but still we train for the war throughout the year, throughout the cycle. Training happens throughout. The war is an opportunity. It comes rare. But in a peacetime, what the soldiers do, that I will say. But let me cover briefly what happens during an operations. Now, an infantry is handling the small arms, right? All the small arms which you have heard of, AK-47, 10 machine carbine, INSAs, in everything, all those weapons which you hear of there. That, and besides that, they are handling the rocket launchers, the mortars, and all during the battle. So these are the frontline troops who are the infantry is the queen of the battle. That's what they call it. So they mount the attack, right? The armored column. You're seeing a tank there. Any guesses what tank you're seeing there, ladies and gentlemen? Anyone has got interest on that tank, which you can see there? Excellent. Kushal seems to have done lot of research. Very good, Kushal. So it's the Bhishma. It's the T-90S Bhishma, which you can see. It's a very it's the main battle tank for India. And to the right side, can you see rocket getting fired? Any idea what this is? Yes, I can give a clue that it is one of the longest ranges of rockets we have got in India. It's certainly multi-barrel. So what are the types of multi-barrel we are having in India? I have visited a tank museum in Ahmednagar. Excellent, beautiful. You would have seen Vineet in the tank museum, all that armor protection and everything. Pinaka. Hmm. You are very close, Vedant. Vedant is quite close to this. Yeah, fine. This is the Smirch, right? So we got the Pinaka and the Smirch weapon systems. Pinakas can fire up to 40 kilometers and Smirch can go up to 70 kilometers. So these are the rocket systems we are having. I could have shown here various other armaments too, but uh, the, due to time paucity, I'm not showing all. But let me explain to you: the combat arms are right in the front, marching for capture of the territory. The combat support is all support from behind. But yet, I'm saying the artillery and the engineers do have some detachments going right in front with the armored and the infantry and the armored supporting the operations. Like I said, the engineers are the first people to reach the site wherever an operation takes place because they lay the bridges, they lay the minefields. Services. Services form the backbone of the complete forces. They are without them, the forces, the fighting arms cannot do anything about that. So any idea what are these terms? They're all looking like abbreviations. I'm sure someone like Kushal may know the abbreviations too, the way he's replying to me. So let me see whether any one of you understand the abbreviations here. ASC. Okay. uh, AOC. AMC, everybody knows, right? What is AMC? No, Kushal. Okay, let me explain. The services like ASC is a supply core. What does it do? What supply does the forces require? It requires food, food supply, water, oil, everything, right? So supply. EME. The EME is the electrical and mechanical engineers. They give all the Admiral Overseas Corporation is OAOC Twinkle. Twinkle, it is Army Ordnance Corps. Army Ordnance Corps. What is an ordnance? So just basically they are managing inventory. No, you don't have to be sorry, Twinkle. That is the reason why I was more particular on explaining to you what the forces is rather than getting into what type of entries are there. That you can get in any YouTube video. You go SSB crack and all, they'll keep talking about it, right? So now I am going into the very essence of the forces, what world of work you are going to see. It is very important, all of you, to understand what you will be exactly doing after entering the forces. That will give you maximum satisfaction, right? The ordnance corps is more of inventory management. Say in corporate, yeah, correct. Army Medical Corps, very good. Military Nursing Services, you're there. So the ordnance manages inventory. Can you imagine 1 lakh vehicles, 4,000 tanks, another 4,000 guns? Who maintains all this? They require huge maintenance. They require to be continuously maintained. These are the services who have come in the forefront of maintenance, and they are right in the battlefield there maintaining the things. ASC, EME, ordnance, medical corps. Medical corps is another arm which is cut across all Air Force, Army, Navy, everywhere the AMC is there, and they are there as a to join the AMC. You can join. You can be posted in Air Force, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, anywhere. So you can join the AMC and become an army doctor. The RVC is a remote and veterinary corps. Have you ever imagined there is a veterinary corps too, which manages dogs, which manages horses? No problem, Twinkle. There's a lot to learn in life. Even I am also learning at this point of time from you people, right? So just see the veterinary corps. There is something called Army Dog Unit. The dogs are used for battlefield. Yes, they are very good. They have a sense of smell. They have a sense of surveillance. So they are being used to do that, right? Similarly, horses are also used. So that's why you have a remote and veterinary corps. Now you have a MNS, the Military Nursing Services, which you can join through Armed Forces Medical College, AFMC. The AMC also you can join through Armed Forces Medical College. My dream is to earn that maroon beret. Lovely. Kushal, I really admire what you're saying there. You have to dream. You have to dream first. You dream and you're there. I can say, Kushal, you're there already. You're a paratrooper. You are a yes. You have to dream to create the reality. What precedes reality? It's a dream which precedes reality. So whatever you all are planning, I'm sure you'll achieve. Right? You need to dream for it. So I was talking about the military nursing. My plan is to get the para and SF badge on shoulders. Yeah, good. Parth, very motivating to listen to you on that account. The military nursing services, you do a BSc nursing, and then in a AFMC you do a medical. Then you can further specialize in that. So you can earn all this. You can become a commando. You can become an NSD, right? You can become a SF. SF. What Parth and Kushal are talking about is one of the most elitist of forces, the special forces. They are there, selected lot, a group of people selected for specific operations, and they are given maximum training. They can handle anything for A to Z. They can handle it. They can live off the land. You can leave them in a jungle and they'll live off the land. The level of technology, technical competence, mental resilience, physical resilience is at par. The special forces are really forces to be saluted. It's a one-man army. True. So I'm just, there's a centerpiece which I have not covered. Now you ask me, what is the future? Somebody should be interested, right? As I see, I've traveled across 22 to 24 years now. I'm seeing a lot of changes. It was more a human-centric approach about 15, 20 years back. Now it is more a machine-centric approach. The future calls for a lot of machines being put into the forces. The army is going to get a lot of machines. They're already inducted a lot of technology here. All surveillance is being done through unarmed aerial vehicles. You have state-of-art night vision equipment. You can sense an enemy as far as 250 to 300 kilometers away, right? You can sense everything. You got the radars to do it today. And when it comes to taking of firepower, you got everything remotely controlled. You got a network-centric warfare. Please Google this and find out what is network-centric warfare. That is the future of the forces. So you can see the person is wearing a specific gear here. That is the FNSAS project. So the forces are also evolving in technology. Like earlier, you had that helmet. World War II, you've seen a helmet which couldn't withstand much force. Today, you have helmets, state-of-art helmets with a light on, with a sensor on, with a night vision capability, and a talking capability. Right? Is a communication is enabled in a helmet. And similarly, you have a bulletproof vest, which are the armor which is manufactured indigenously. In future, the scientists are even thinking of creating such machines out of men which can enhance your body capabilities. Like there is a research going on that if you move, there will be armaments fitted on your body, and you will be able to leap instead of 3 meters, 10 meters. So how the machinery is going to augment human capabilities. So I'm talking very extreme sort of technologies which may not be there, may be there today and are under development. But what you are seeing right here in front of you, everything on the screen is there. So what Israel made, what which one you're talking about? Humanoids. Yeah, absolutely. So humanoids are a little higher level. Probably what I am referring is not a physically there will not be a biological intervention on your body. It will be just it's a wearable device. You can wear it and you can use it. That is the intermediate stage, right? Humanoids are a further going ahead stage. So as on today, there is one assurance which I am saying is that the armed forces are getting extremely modernized. We require really talented people like all of you who are into all streams, commerce, science, legal, technology. Everything is required today. We cannot go with a single-minded approach. Iron Man, yes, we are looking at Iron Man and ladies, right? So I think I'm taking too much time here. Let me go ahead and see the airman here. To find us, you must be good. To catch us, you must be fast. To beat us, you must be kidding. There. Another set of people who take pride in their work, the Air Force, right? So after seeing a lot of photographs on the second photograph, you must be quickly able to guess what that is. You must have come across that quite often. Yeah, there is a debate between Aditya and Vedant. So yes, it is the Rafale, our new entry. And what do you see below? One huge plane taking off. Can you see that? I gave a word called huge. So can you guess what is so huge in the Air Force? This can carry about say hundreds of tons on its weight. Yeah, these are all the transport these are the transport aircrafts. So these are the transport aircrafts. Yes, they are manufactured by Boeing, correct? C-17 specifically, right? And CJ-130. There is the AN-32. There are various other aircrafts too. So these are the transport aircrafts. They are capable of doing heavy lift, strategic lift. A strategic lift is very important when you are transporting huge number of people to a very difficult area. These are the aircrafts which are going to help. So besides this is not the Air Force, right? Air Force has got endless equipment. They got the attack hepters, they got the normal utility hepters, they got the there are various types of aircrafts. You can do research on these aircrafts and find out what is a fighter, what is an interceptor. Yes, flying unit can't be Garud Commando. Absolutely, the Garud is like our special forces, right? So the Garud is another specialized unit being trained for special operations for the Air Force. So I was talking that there are various types of aircrafts which you could probably have a look at. What is an interceptor, what is a bomber, and various as the likes of it. Then you will slowly understand what the way of life happens. Now, as you look at the Air Force here, there are three different categories you can see: flying, ground duty officers, technical. So a flying is a very pure option to become a fighter pilot. How to become a fighter pilot, what I have to do, what I have to study is what I said. You need to do that extra research, but I will certainly show one single slide which will cover it all. You need to be physically fit, certainly. Yeah, and there are three different categories: a fighter, transport, helicopter. We covered in the flying part. The ground duty officers, there are various jobs. There are various work which we do as a ground duty officers too. There are administration. You do. ATC means what? ATC is a very common term which you would have heard of in an airport. What is an ATC? It's an air traffic controller, right? So, okay. So you can join as a ground duty officer both in a technical and non-technical wing. See, I said that there is no limit of your work and the streams which you can take to join the Air Force. You see there, accounts, education, logistics, MET. MET is meteorology, logistics, LGS, right? EDN, education. Pardon my abbreviation there. I tried to truncate it within this box. So you can see that there are huge number of opportunities. Then technical person can join to manage that huge inventory of these planes. It requires a lot of technical expertise. So that is the reason you have a lot of technical workforce joining the Air Force. See, as I'm talking, you can see there are a lot of links that I have given below. You may note it, or probably at a later time frame, I can share you one-to-one these links so that you can have a look at them and understand the job roles in detail. Before joining, you should certainly understand what you're going to do, what the world of work is going to be. Here we see the white, the Navy, right? Yeah, sometimes we rush in after the storm. Sometimes we are the storm. That goes the saying, the Navy, right? You can see on top something submerged. What is that? Sir, is there any difference in position and salary we get entry with NDA, CDS and others? No, not at all. There is no difference in position. The age limits are different for NDA and CDS. You understand? NDA is 16 and a half to 19 and a half. CDS, it goes from anything between 19 to 25 or 20 to 27. There are various categories of ages, but it's usually between 20 to 27. So the advantage you're having post NDA is that your age is low, so you got little higher to go. That is a direct impact. So does having done NCC give some benefits in joining the services? Certainly. Aditya, let me understand, you're in college or school. I have passed 12th standard. So in college you get an opportunity to do NCC. All Army, Navy, Air Force, all three streams are there. The NCC gives you an option to do A, B, and C certificates. It will certainly put you under a physical conditioning, a discipline conditioning. It will enable you to learn about the forces. And NCC entries are there now today of joining. So you get an NCC entry. There are vacancies up to 10% in certain categories. So you will be considered as an NCC entry where you will be exempted from written examination and you will be directly going through the SSB interview. That is the advantage you'll have during NCC. But certainly, if you're for it, please go for it. Once you join a college, go for the NCC and at least try to get a C certificate. You need to be 19 and a half par. Could you please check it from the website? Yeah. So the Navy has got the three different categories here: executive, engineering, others. So you see, the executive are the people who are going to lead the ships. In executive cadre, they are going to be mostly operational on ground. In executive cadre, you can see about 10, 12 categories there, right? So many categories. So hydrographer, general are the people who lead and who are the leaders, right? The observer is a person who takes there are aircrafts within a ship, and an observer is a person who goes along, who's always mobile and is most of the time going around observing what the enemy is doing. Pilots, you got a pilot entry, you got a logistic entry. I said there is a huge amount of logistics in the Navy too. You got an information technology wing, which takes care of information technology onshore and offshore both, within the ship and outside the ship. The air traffic control, again, same like the Air Force. The law, if you are your 12th standard you're completed, you're taken a law degree. After the post your law degree, you can join in the law wing. The very specific about Navy, what I observed is the sports. They have a lot of importance for that sports. There is a sports officer also there. So yeah, this physical thing is there in the Army too, which is called Army Physical Training Corps, ASPT, Army School of Physical Training. There is a separate corps called OPTC. So there is a Army Physical Corps. Similarly, in the Navy also, they give importance to the physical training. There are certain privileges you will get if you are a national level player, if you have represented yourself at some position, and if you have done coaching, you will be given a preference. There is a music too, right? You imagine this. There is a music. Oh, what do you understand by this music? Anybody is familiar with this? Yeah, exactly. It's a band. Om said it. So there is a music band. See, band is there in all the arms and services. A band is a group of people singing to the martial tunes. So these are the motivators, right? You hear a martial tune, you get motivated. So there is a separate wing for the music too. Engineering. The amount of engineering which is involved in handling a submarine underwater to keep it operational requires a lot of technology there. So there is a full-fledged submarine technical officers who are there, posted there. There are a lot of crew with the submarine officers handling the engineering part. Similarly, within a ship too, whether it is shipbuilding or whether it is architect is more of shipbuilding and constructions, right? So the engineering forms a very key component of the Navy. So if you are an engineer, if you have done your BE, if you're planning for a BE, I would like to say that there is a lot of scope to join the Air Force and the Army and the Navy. And more so in the Navy, you will have a lot of openings coming up for the engineers. Anything special to crack SSB and entrance? See, I have something very specific to SSB which I want to say. And I will certainly take 5 minutes for that. Yeah, I will certainly guide you to the SSB part, right, in the end. Because at the end of the day, whatever we are talking online, you are seeing all the information, physical qualification, education is all fine. But the SSB is the pillar which you have to cross. The SSB is the ultimate thing which we have to cross. So that is something which I will be explaining to you. Others, electrical, educational, medical. So you see, there is no limit for the jobs which we can perform. I put all the Central Armed Police Services here. How to prepare for CDS, yeah. So that also will be covered when we are talking about it, right? The preparation part, the mental framework which you need to be having is something which we can talk. I am noting Anaga and Par, your points. So you just have a look at this complete thing. The paramilitary has got so much of options for the women too. I purposefully put a lot of women in these photographs here. So there is a lot of options. If even in the army, you got the SSC commission, and in Air Force you got SSC commission for the women, right? But yeah, for the CAPF, there are a lot of options for both men and women from all the places. So as I mentioned before, I'm not exactly being officer centric here. So if you want to join the Army, Navy, Air Force, you can join as a soldier. There are three different categories, whichever force it. I'll explain to you conceptually what are the three different categories in all the forces. You understand things conceptually, then you will be able to make a decision. So we have three different categories in any forces, be it CAPF, Army, Navy, Air Force. The first category are the soldiers. You take from a soldier, then you have a single line, a double line, and a three lines, right? Three line is a havaldar, or in Air Force you call it a corporal or a sergeant. Similarly, right? So these are the stages. So they're all called personal below officers ranks. So these are the ranks which you can go. You can join directly as a soldier GD, or there are various categories in that too. There is a technical stream, there is a medical stream, and there is a non-medical stream. Now in the intermediate comes the junior commissioned officers, the JCOs, what they call. In Navy, you call them petty officers, master petty officers, master chief petty officers. In the Air Force, you call them junior JWOs, etc. Right? And in the Army, you call them subedars. And in the paramilitary, how do you call them? You call them sub-inspectors, inspectors, they are all the same category. Like, so when you say a ASI, a sub-inspector or a subedar, they all mean the same. An inspector is equivalent to a subedar or a subedar major. So this is the second tier of management in the forces. The first tier are the people who directly get involved in managing equipment, managing administration, managing the operations. The second tier are the leaders who handle 30 to 60 people. That is the second tier of leaders. That is the first level of junior leadership, you can call it. Now, the third tier is the officers, starting from a single star to a general. So that is common across all police services too, have the same pattern. So you call them a commissioned officers or you call them class A gazetted, it means the same. NDA gives direct entry to lieutenant, flying officer and sub-lieutenant. No. NDA, OTA, IMA is not getting affected there at all. Everybody has to join as a lieutenant only. The NDA has to undergo a 1-year training in IMA, and then they are also commissioned as lieutenants. The difference is only of the engineer and the non-engineers. The engineers get an antedate seniority of 1 year. The non-engineers do not. Right. So similarly, as a captain, when you are commissioned after a medical corps from AFMC, you are a captain. So there are certain time periods, probation period, and thereafter you are taken in, and all those things are there, right? I am a FID rated state level chess player. Will I get some advantage in NDA interview? May not be, Vishal, there. You may figure out that sports thing which I was talking about in the Navy and see what are the categories of level of participation which is accepted. Maybe a chess may be considered. I'm not very sure a chess is considered in the sports category, especially in the Navy vacancy which I was talking about to you. So you may have a look at that. How can one be a subedar or junior commissioned officer then? Direct entries. Yeah. Parth, the way to become a junior commissioned, see, this complete presentation on paramilitary I will cover. I am holding it for Parth's clarity now because this question is coming often. Let me clarify this. Parth, for your question, a person is a soldier, Havaldar, right? He's gained about 18 years of proficiency at that point of time. Then they have to undergo an examination. There is a clear-cut junior leader examination they have to pass. They need to have a very good rating also. The rating is a performance rating. Then one can get promoted to a Naib Subedar first. A Naib Subedar is a single star. It's a single star like an ASI, Assistant Sub Inspector, 1 star. So after a single star, then you become a Subedar, a double star. Okay. So that is what is a Subedar. There is another option to take a direct commissioned Subedar. A direct commission Subedar is after graduation, you appear for an exam and you are taken in as a Subedar in the, like for example, a religious teacher in the forces comes as a direct JSU. There are exceptions. There are certain categories. There is a religious teacher in the forces. Yes, there is a RT JSU, it's called. They conduct this prayers. They are the moral support of the battalions. So these are the people who are directly coming as Subedars. So there are certain categories like in paramilitary and CAPF where you can directly become as a sub-inspector, like in a BSF. In a CRPF, you can directly go in as a sub-inspector. It's like police. In police, you got a direct SI entry or you got an IPS entry which you can get it done through IAS. So similarly, there are direct entry for a JCO too. I'm a state level boxer, very good. So it will certainly get merited. Not in an SSB, right? No, there is no direct effect on a SSB. I will explain to you what is an SSB after. Okay, let me do it now. Let me do it now. The queries are long. And SSB is a very, very qualitative structured program comprising of those 5 days, right? The first part is the screening part where you are screened with your officer OIR test, intelligence test, and thereafter you are done given a picture perception description test. So once you're through with it, 60% of the people will be taken out there only. most of the 50 to 60 is I think the average ratio which is getting in. Then you have the detailed SSB interview comprising of those 4 days of rigorous group discussions. You have a psychological test. The psychological test is very, very important. So the psychological test is thematic perception test, word test, right? So there are 4 5 tests which are very vital there. Then once you finish that, then you do a group tasks, individual task, group task under a GTO. Then you do tasks under an interviewing officer. So as you see these 5 days, your quality is very important than the quantity here at this point of time. So what is more important, as Kushal has put it, GTO, WAT, PPDT, these are the important things. Your quality inside is extremely important. When your approach to an SSB has to be natural, you have to be natural. Your real self has to be there. And I believe me, if you are your real self, you got huge potential there. You got a lot of positive vibrancy inside you, which you can bring it out in an SSB. More parameters are for those officer-like qualities, right? Honesty, integrity, leadership, and there are various other qualities there. So most of these qualities are checked there. Your level of initiative, your level of team spirit, your collective work, the way you interact with the team, all these things matter. So how do you develop these proficiencies? These proficiencies you have to naturally develop. If you want to join a training session of SSB and all, you can do it. That will naturally build up your skill for a SSB. There are a lot of schools training us in SSB. Basically, I want to know about how to get clear of those 5 days training and go get OIR. Parth, it is a totally different session which I may not be able to cover at this point of time. Those 5 days are very, very vital. You got a separate training for SSB to do all that thing. So, Parth, let me understand. What is your age? What are you doing? Which are you in school or college? I'm 18 and a half years old. You're in first year of college? Second year? Completed 12th. Yes, Parth. Parth, what matters a lot is mindset. You have a positive mindset. You can clear SSB with a positive mindset. Everything revolves around how you are treating the world around you. Half of the solutions to the tests of psychology are how you are reacting to a situation, how you are reacting to the world. You have a lot of positivity inside you. Nobody is going to stop you from clearing those tests. The tests are centered around to find out any disruptions in the personality or any issues there. But I'm sure most of you have got take your positive vibes, approach it one to one. That is why word aptitude tests and all those things are time bound. Your TAT is time bound. They give you 10 pictures and ask you to do it in 10 minutes, right? So what you got hardly some limited time to do that. Like say, if I'm right, it is about half an hour. I don't remember that. But all these are time bound. This time bound thing makes your real nature come out. So you can do a lot of self practice on these 5 days things. But do you ask me really frankly, will the self practice help? It will help to about some extent. But the real test of you is how you yourself as really your personal nature is very vital. When you're going to college, please take leadership roles. Please take volunteer out for things. Your natural traits and qualities develop. A personality develops. I always believe in a growing personality. We don't fix people, right? We don't fix people. This person is like this person is like that. Our personality grows from 13 to 25. It keeps growing throughout our lives. I'm sure with a positive mindset you can clear this. You want a programmed training? Parth, you can do one thing. My email ID is there. I am open to any one of you contacting me one to one on clarity regarding SSB. I'm okay with that. Right? So at the end, I will be sharing my email ID. You can talk to me. I'll help you share all those things. Yes, you can go to NDA too. Yeah, let me get back to the. See, just have a look at this CAPF. I'm sure this should be interesting you. You see this Assam, right? Most of these are under the Ministry of Health Affairs, right? I mean, they're all in the Home Ministry. I'm sorry, I corrected. It's not health affairs. The Home Ministry. Most of them are Home Ministry based tasks. They are the second tier of defense. So in a war, what happens actually? In a war, the first tier goes, right? Army, Navy, Air Force are there. The CRPF, BSF, and others too contribute. They also go and support the forces, and people like Home Guard, the TA, Territorial Army, you heard. Those are the people who manage the rear. They manage the bridges, the common population. But CRPF and BSF are very closely supporting the forces. That is what is their main operational job. In an administrative scenario, the BSF is handling the border management. CRPF is handling insurgency. NCC will certainly help you join everywhere. Any place you go, the NCC is of use. Scientists, including theories, researchers, experiments, applied scientists, designers, engineers, responsible, originating. Okay, I am not able to understand this. We can get back. Right, I was just talking about the paramilitary, right? Please understand, BSF is the border management, ITBP is Indo-Tibet border, CISF internal security. When you understand internal security, what do you mean by that? Security problems, rioting, militant related issues, right? The terrorism. There are all those things which CISF is handling. You've heard of CISF having special teams like Rapid Action Force and Cobra. Have you heard of them? Please do Google and find about them. What is this Cobra about? That is another commando force, right? They take pride. Like someone mentioned, Vishal, if I remember rightly, he mentioned, Kushal, you mentioned about SF and taking pride in that. Similarly, the CISF takes pride in having a Cobra force. So these are combat teams for resolute action. That's what it says. So they are deployed in all those Naxalite areas, and they have their badges and they have a different way of life. See, then the CISF. The CISF is the Industrial Security Force. So have you ever wondered how the areas like airports, our nuclear installations, our key locations which are very vital to the national safety and security are covered? The CISF is going to cover all these things. They take care of the take care of the safety and security of all these places. The NSG, the deputy NSG is another allied force for rescue missions and commando sort of an operations, anti-militant operations, the sabotage missions. These are their specific tasks. The people who are selected for NSG are taken lateral entries. That is, they are taken from the forces and then they are taken parallelly to the NSG, and there is no direct entry into this. Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan sir of NSG, KA of Mumbai 2611 attack. Yes, absolutely. Very proud to talk about the people who did this operations. NSG played a very major role in 2611 attack. Yeah. So besides this, all these you see, you ask, there are several other things too, like say Coast Guard. There is a Railway Protection Force which takes care of railways. I have not named everyone here. I would certainly like to summarize about the police services, which I don't want to miss upon that. The police services has got, again, you remember my 3-stage entry, which I explained. The first stage you can join as a constable, second as an SI level, the middle level, and the third is the IPS cadre. Excuse me. For the IPS cadre, you need to do the civil services examination. There are certain set of vacancies for getting into an IPS. Then again, you join as a DSP. Then you promote as a SP, an SSP, a DIG, an IG, and so on and so forth, right? Inspector General and so on. So this is a structured thing which you can see even in the CAPF. One important thing to mention, there are several categories in the CAPF slide which you are seeing, which are taken by the IPS officers. If you are getting into IPS, then you are parallelly you are taking in lot of vacancies of top level of the armed police also. So say for example, you can join these paramilitary forces, this armed police at the middle level as an inspector. I said, as a class A gazetted, you can join as an assistant commandant also. Now anything beyond a commandant, like an assistant commandant is something like a captain or a major. That is the equivalence, right? I can say that. Or and a major is like a squadron leader. So then you go beyond a commandant. You join the ranks of IG, DIG, and all. These are a set of vacancies with the IPS officers have a lateral entry, and they top these people. That is why often you have seen the people who are leading the paramilitary are from the IPS, Indian Police Service. That is the thing to mention. So I have taken a lot of time here, and I think I wouldn't like to extend it beyond another 10 minutes. So I would quickly show you this particular slide. See, the net summary of many of your questions are here. Where to find them? Where to find these answers? See, I will only give an analysis of this slide. The analysis here is that there are various entries in the forces. You see the age, it's starting from 16.5 to 27. I will refine this, and Kushal, I am ready to share this also, right? So we'll do that. You'll get ample clarity with this. So and certainly go to the websites which I am mentioning, the nic.in websites, government websites. I understand all these things are available in the net. That is why I purposefully did not focus on this, because you will get all your clarity in the internet. If you having a problem, you should certainly revert. You see, my net analysis of this slide is, when we were commissioned, self and Colonel Sanjay were there. We had very few entries. Colonel Sanjay will vouch for it. There were just 3 or 4 entries. Today you have a technical entry after 12. You have a PCM entry. You have an NCC entry. You have an NCC special entry. Then you have an Air Force AFCAT and Air Force entry separate. See, if I start talking about the entries, I would have missed this entire session today. You would have missed all those things which I told about the work of life, world of work. This complete entries are a huge bunch of knowledge. You can sit and do research, and your parents can help in this too. Finding the right entry, but finding the right attitude to make sure, are you reaching the right goal is what I am making an effort here. That you should do a job which you are loving, part of your second life, right? Uniform is something like a second skin. It's a way of life. It is not a job. So you need to like this. So I'm going ahead with the Q&A. We have talked enough Q&A, but still we are now open for the next 5-6 minutes. Over to Colonel Sanjay and Suraj. If you would like anything specific to mention regarding this 1.5 hour session we had, or we can go to the Q&A. Colonel Sanjay, over to you.
Yes, thanks so much. Tanvi. So what we'll do now is open the mics for the attendees. My only request is, please pose your questions one by one, and we will be able to take only a few questions because we have another session after this. So our time is limited. And other than that, we'll be sharing our information regarding the emails and all that. If you have queries, if you want any assistance, you can certainly contact us further. So I'm opening all the mics for the attendance, and you can take on the questions, Karan Sudhir.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Colonel Sanjay. See, now this is one thing which I earlier mentioned. These are the various numbers and figures, right? So I would obviously will go to a website now to check and revert back to you, Senthil. I'm saying a very practical thing. There are 50-20 types of entries having various vacancies and age group. You can always access this. I request you all to talk about more about the forces. After this session, there is a thing which I would like to ask every one of you. That is there anything stopping you from not taking up this? Is it a negative approach? I'm not very sure. There are a lot of positivities in the defense and protective services we see today. See, when you talk of work-life balance, I'm telling you, I am already in corporate today, so I am aware. I'd like to submit that before joining the forces, I was a teacher. So I have seen multi-pronged approach of what are the various professions and jobs. I am yet to find a work-life balance which the forces can give. I can't imagine myself getting up and running 5 kilometers, keeping myself physically fit, doing my administration of my people, then playing some game in the evening, or playing golf, or keeping fit. having a social get together with my relatives. This is all a paid activity which government of India is doing to us. So I have yet to see such a work-life balance. So is there anything which is a query to you, bothering you, which I will certainly, that is the sort of interaction which I would like to have, gentlemen and ladies. Joining army through IMA will get direct entry to which position? You can, you will reach a lieutenant. If it's a technical thing, you will become a captain. Preparation for CDS. Yes. See, when I say we all appeared for CDS, right? So, Anaga, uh, CDS, there are multiple entries. Like CDS is for Army, Navy, Air Force, all. Let me clarify that for all. It's a tri-services entrance exam. If you are entering into certain academies like IMA, you need to do the technical part also. You'll have a mathematics paper. Other than that, it is a general ability and English, right? General awareness and English. Most of these are very, very generic. So you ask me whether clearing a CDS entrance paper is difficult. It is not at all. It is any person with an average preparation can clear CDS. CDS is not a problem at all. But certainly do deliberate on your question papers. Do deliberate, work out a few. You just don't go and sit there quietly right there. We need to do some preparations for it. Do see when we are talking about preparations have to be 100%. No compromise. Don't leave an iota of preparation. Results will automatically come. But when you ask the degree of difficulty, it is different. In an NDA entrance, like say there is a lot of arithmetic, algebra, calculus, right? After 12th, what you do. So in a CDS, and you have a very generic paper. So the questions are different. But certainly the general knowledge level may be a little higher. That may be there. The technical level questions may be lower. So when you ask a CDS, getting per se clearing the exam is not the crucial thing. The crucial test of time is clearing the assessment. That is the main thing. So the medicals, not been talking about medicals at all. We have to be really medically fit. We need to check that. The BMI and all are very underrated component. Today BMI is very important. Your height weight ratio, BMI has to be less than 25 and all. So there are so many things related to that. You go, you search into the website, you will get numerous things for flat foot, for squint eyes. There are various other medical parametric for hydrocele. There are things for your expansions and things like that. Knock knees. I can name many of them, but you ask me a technical description of that, I would recommend you to go to the website and get the details. CRPF you can apply at all the 3 levels. The first level I mentioned is the soldier constable, it's called. You go to the CRPF portal, there is a numerous vacancies being put for a CRPF vacancy. And yeah, certainly you are looking at the Cobra part, it is there. You go have a look at that. You will find how beautiful it looks like. So then the second level is the inspector level, and the third is the assistant commandant level. Then comes the IPS cadre. You don't have a direct entry to CRPF through an IPS cadre. If you are an IPS officer, you can go directly taking a big divisions as a DIG or an IG. You can certainly call and mail me for age, height, weight, chest, quantity of vacancies, right? So these are all figures which I think may not be appropriate at this time.
Okay.
Yes, Colonel Sanjay.
Yeah. So Vineet has been asking books recommended for NDA. So Vineet, we don't recommend books per se because you have multitude of options. In fact, there are academies also which you help in preparation. But the best bet would be you first please go online. The entire information is available. How to apply, when to apply, what are the qualifications, age, and other things. And nowadays, online you'll find sample papers and a lot of things. So first, please go through that, then do the exploration and take it on. It's not very difficult based on your basically 11th and 12th syllabus only. Then Kushal is saying, is it fine to join Indian Army through NCC and not appearing for CDS? Yes, Kushal, it's a privilege for somebody who's gone through the certification program of NCC, and you are recognized for that privilege, because the final your SSB interview takes care of a lot of things where your personality and your qualifications are evaluated in the various tests. So you're not at a disadvantage, right, Karan Sudhir?
Yeah, absolutely right. So the SSB is a benefit, and there are vacancies specifically for NCC entry through the AFCAT as well as through Army. Both have got NCC entry separate.
Yes. Uh,
You got a in Air Force, if I am right, there's a permanent vacancies too. 10% is what I am remembering. And Army, you got a direct NCC entry.
yes.
Without CDS, you can appear directly for the SSB.
Vamika has a question. These exams are to be given after graduation. Yes, Vamika, there are different entries for women, and you can even go after post graduation also. Graduation is minimum. There are different entries in all the three armed forces as well as the paramilitary.
Yeah, see, you can see here as I am flashing. So there are various entries. After 12th, you can enter NDA, and or you can take the TES entry, which happens at OTA Gaya. There is a
Sorry, Vamika's query is for girls basically. She's
girls. Okay, right.
so that is after graduation only,
After graduation, Vamika.
and there are multitude of options, Vamika, and that also. Then Labdi Shri has been talking about BSc Defense Studies. Labdi Shri, again, you can do any graduation, and a number of opportunities are open for different entries. Depends on what is your area of interest. But your BSc Defense Studies does not per se help you in the process of the entry as such. And career wise, you are trained in the requisite courses or whatever kind of qualifications you require post your entry into the armed forces or the paramilitary. They take care of that kind of training, so it's not a mandatory or gives you any specific advantage as such.
Yeah, so there are so a lot of postgraduates who come to. So there are postgraduate entries. There is a law entry. People who have done law, they can come in. So as you can see this particular slide, which I asked, requested you to analyze it, as you see, one is the age is a matrix, huge age gap. From 16 to 28, you got an option of joining. Second, it also gives a flexibility to join various services at various points of time with various education qualifications. So, irrespective whether you are a BCom or a BE or a BTech, so you still can keep your dream alive. That is the summary which is coming out of this.
Yes, so we are trying to take in the questions which people have posted in here in the chat window and the question and answers. So Vedant has a question about possibilities of naval recruitment through commerce. Vedant, I think they would be limited per se because Navy is comparatively a smaller force and their focus is on technology. Though they would be having entries open in accounts and logistics and other that part, but even that would be limited. So I suggest you please check out the naval side, the Naval Indian Navy, and it will give out all the details as required.
Yeah, just to add to it, specifically commerce graduates and CA and ICWA are there in the Air Force. They are taken as ground duty officers, non-technical, and that is to perform the function of administrative officers.
Yes. So Rahul Pandey, regarding your session on question on minimum age limit, it would depend on the kind of entry you're seeking and the force which you're aiming for. So it would have to be specific to a particular force and the level which you're aiming for. And I just have a point over here regarding when we are talking about entries, please try and understand that the entries are at different level at the particular entry level which you want to go in. Secondly, it will be dependent on your age, and thirdly, your qualifications. So all three are interrelated. The more qualifications you gain, it helps you in aiming for a higher level. So your options increase. So please keep that on mind.
Very importantly, I want to add to what Colonel Sanjay is saying. In many of these entries, it very clearly specifies 70% marks in PCM. The qualitative requirements say that 60% marks in physics and maths. So, like as the entries increased over a period of time, the percentage we are scoring is also equally important. So, earlier it used to be more of a very generic sort of a qualitative requirement. Now there are many of the entries which are asking you for a specific cutoff marks too. There are many after grad programs also where a cutoff is required, more than 60% is required. In many of the in some of the cases, more than 78 or percentage or so is the cutoff. So that you may like to have a look at that. Promotion criteria. Colonel Sanjay, can I cover this?
Yes, please, please.
Yeah. So promotion criteria, we have a standard promotion by time, and that standard promotion by time is also subject to some examinations being passed. So it differs from Army, Navy, Air Force. So it says for a major, it is after 6 years, for a lieutenant colonel after 13 years, and at times, and the moment you're a colonel, you're into a selection grade, and then you're a brigadier with another selection board. So beyond lieutenant colonel, all the activities are being done by a selection board. Earlier, lieutenant colonels also used to be having a selection board. Before that, it is all time-bound promotions, subject to you passing a necessary requirements of an exam called Part B, Part D, etc. There are certain exams which you need to clear. That is one. But all this would not guarantee you the promotion. The promotion is the main issue of promotion is being taken care by several other multiple factors. There's a big check sheet which is put of how you are performing, which are the areas you have operated, what is your annual confidential report scores. So it is a multitude of scores which are total, and if you are fitting the bill, then you get promoted. But till a lieutenant colonel, there is an assured promotion. Am I audible, Vedant?
Okay, Sudhir, I think we have
We
been
can stop.
out of time.
Yeah. I think we should not exceed our time.
So I would like to thank Colonel Sudhir for this wonderful session, and where we have been able to uh, get a idea about the different kind of entries into the armed forces and the various protective forces. What are the various avenues? And you guys have been a wonderful audience. So as Colonel Sudhir has shared his details and all that, and if you go on to the landing page, even I think my email ID would be there. So please connect to us in case you have any specific queries or something, and whatever we can help out, we will certainly do that. Wish you guys all the best, and do check out Thea's website also, because Thea has been doing a yeoman service in this field of career guidance, creating career awareness, and career mentoring. So that will also be helpful to you. And just the concluding remark from Colonel Sudhir, and then we can be off. Thank you, Colonel Sudhir.
Thank you, Colonel Joshi. So that was nice, a good session. More so, uh, I felt that the interaction was good, right? That was very important to chat with each one of you on the chat window. That was actually more of an thing of learning and to understand what are the queries which one gets at your service and age, right? So thank you very much for your very active participation. I thank Team Dea for this opportunity. Colonel Sanjay, Suraj, who is at the backdrop, thanks for all the technical support. So I recommend all of you to have a look at Dea, and please revert back to us in case you need any career guidance. The entire team is there to support you and enable you to have a very bright path and a good future. Wish you all the very best. Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colonel Sanjay.
Thank you all. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you.